Your Royal Highness, good morning, ma'am, and welcome to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the world of CSC alumni. Ma'am, as you know, an incredible work is begun in leaders who attend CSC programs. For most, it's a pivotal moment and a life-changing experience. The alumni exists to transition people from that first experience onto a lifelong pathway, providing opportunity for continued growth and connection. For the last few years, a small group of alumni have been connecting and leveraging the 5,000 plus alumni scattered across the Commonwealth, in person, online, social media, with gatherings both large and small. We continue to support existing alumni with small group support sessions we call Connect. We're bringing together CSC cohorts by year group through reunions. We're leveraging CSC leaders in powerful and interesting positions for global discussions. We have a spectacular conference planned in Kenya to which Your Royal Highness is invited. Delivering our conference right now, it's a bit tricky, but we're using this opportunity to refocus and continue to build on momentum gathered over the last few years. This is the work of many, and I'm proud to have an extraordinary group of people helping to create these opportunities. Ilka Dunn coordinating connections, John Thompson tracking down the 5,000, Peter Laron driving the Global Speaker Series, Ashley Barrett ensuring process clarity, and Nick Stubbs working finance. Alumni are our secret weapon, but we have a debt to those who got us here, building on the legacy created by His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh and continued through your wonderful support. Titans like Bob Taylor and Brian Pickett, who created a solid foundation on which we continue to build. Others who've contributed significant time, talent and treasure over many years, Sir Alan Parker, Robert Goh and Chris Hartley. As Chairman of the CSC Global Alumni, I and the incredible team are focused on our mission, building on our history and forging a great future, connecting and catalysing CSC alumni around the Commonwealth. See you in Kenya, ma'am.
Sincere thanks to Your Royal Highness for giving us the time for this very opportune conversation. And sincere thanks to Sir Alan Parker and CSC UK for hosting this event. I'm blessed to have benefited twice over by the Commonwealth Study Conferences. Once as a participant, one, my experiences with amazing conference attendees not just grew me as a leader, but as a person. Second, as the lead organizer of CSC 2007 in India, in collaboration with Malaysia. I had the opportunity to have fleeting interactions with you, and through your interventions during group presentations, shape my worldview. Through the AELD board, I have stayed connected with inspiring alumni, glimpses of whom you have seen just now, and been part of a Commonwealth-wide effort to give back. I remain amazed with the depth of leadership that exists in the Commonwealth countries and the opportunities that collaboration and people-to-people connection can throw up. These are indeed unprecedented times. The need for inspired and inspiring leadership is more now than ever before. You've seen the presentations that have which have just gone by, ma'am, and you would have realized the depth of leadership and the scale of impact created by CSC alumni. We are determined to carry this forward, to build on the enormous effort that's been put together by alumni before us, and I pay tribute to all my colleagues in the AELD. Ma'am, a tremendous amount of work and effort has gone into presenting what we have done today, and rightly so. I thank all the presenters for their energy and for truly reflecting the thoughts, actions, and aspirations of alumni throughout the Commonwealth. We thank you for your ongoing support, and we really look forward to your comments and suggestions on what you have seen so far. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you, Balaji. That's a terrific summary of all those wonderful presentations. So I won't seek to repeat what you've just said because you've said it all.
I mean, it is remarkable. I too would also like to thank so many of the people who've kept that alumni really strong and building. And you've got to say everything from Barbados to those camels. I mean, that's got to be fun. And you sense the energy and life within the organization and right across the alum of what is possible and a sense of ambition. And I think it's that sense of ambition that you've kept us alive with and driven us on to at every stage. And I think that's what we're up for now. As I said, I think the way of really harnessing that within the alumni now and powering that up as a community has never been more important. I think that's using the conferences as part of that. I think that's using the connectivity of the new world. I think it's using the technology you spoke of. And at the heart of it is the thing that you've always held strong, which is the spirit of it. It's a sense of belief of the importance of being connected, of a stronger Commonwealth, of learning together, of being held with certain core deep beliefs, about how we can live together and make progress and be stronger together. And that, I think, has never been, as we said earlier, more relevant or more important in the world. And we are, absolutely, as you said, in one of those rebuild phases. So we have an opportunity to establish links together, to learn together, and really enhance the impact we can make for leadership around the whole world, and particularly the Commonwealth, through the next stage of this. That sense of reimagining and reinvention, I think, really does draw back into the kind of leaders that have already been created. So the alum, again, I salute everybody who's made all of this possible over a long period of time. And again, Chris and Peter Moore has been amazing, and all those other folk who have put on today. And now my turn really to hand over to those 6 groups I mentioned. It's remarkable. And I think it's, a key part of that sense of how to invent the next future, the next generation, and the future face of our organization and family, as Peter quite rightly calls it, is to be listened, is to be listening, to be inspired by what you see around you, and to learn new thoughts, new perspectives, and new approaches. So on that note, I'm very happy to hand over to those 6 groups. And again, thank you, ma'am.
Your Royal Highness, across 7 different time zones, we bonded over our shared love of the F word. What are the challenges and opportunities we face in our workplace in 2021? Change slide, please. Mum, 64 years ago, His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, conceived of the Commonwealth Studies Conference as an extraordinary experiment to bring diverse people from the Commonwealth together to examine the relationship between industry and communities. We could not have foreseen then a world disrupted by a pandemic, climate change, and the challenges to democracy. Understanding the relationship between people, their work, and their environment is now, more than ever, vital. The F word expresses our attitude towards the challenges we face in our workplace and homes. F words like fear, of seeing the problems, facing them, finding solutions. Fear leading to inaction and isolation. Our most vulnerable people are suffering now. This leads to fragmentation between governments and industry, between public and private enterprise. Due to the pandemic restrictions, we must work harder to meet, to communicate, to plan. Fatigue is natural, but we must not be overcome by the inaction. Instead, we must develop our fitness for a rapidly changing world, to be agile, to find social and economic resources. Support from our communities and loved ones to cope mentally and physically is vital. Indeed, that is our challenge. Change slide, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Your Royal Highness, using F words liberally can be freeing and oddly uplifting, but our Commonwealth countries hold the talent, innovation, and resources to face the future with a cluster of F-bombs. Words like flexibility, allowing adaptation and agility, the ability to face a complex world where the only thing for certain is uncertainty. Our fellowship, from our shared bond as Commonwealth scholars, to the links we each bring to our communities, spreading outwards through our industry and society, these will allow us to meet the grave challenges together. We must have faith in ourselves, in society, governments, or higher forces to do the hard work, to hope, to uplift, and to support each other, to have the resilience to try, to fail, and to get up again. When we stand together using our diverse skills to name our challenges, what will see us through? The biggest, fattest, final F word, fearlessness. Your Royal Highness, today we meet the future and its challenges with the F word. Thank you, ma'am.
Our group name is Kotahi Tātou, which is Māori for we all in this together.
I'm Julie from Australia and I love Tim Tams.
I'm Leo Pepe Ta'ala Raf Elika from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and of course I love kiwi fruit.
Hi, I'm Michelle from Malaysia and we like to eat flat noodles called watan ho.
Hi, I'm Roger Donovan. I was on CSC Leaders 2015. This is a fantastic Eccles cake from Eccles in Lancashire.
My name is Carmen. I am from Burundi, and one of my favorite dishes is isombe.
Hi, this is Robin Grundon from Queensland in Australia, and my favourite food, of course, is the wonderful seafood that we have available.
Hi, I'm Shalini Kamath from India, where food experiences change every 200 kilometers.
The study tours play a critical part of our events. The interaction during this time creates, challenges and builds lifelong relationships across the Commonwealth. As we experience the time together, the content that we are presented, the issues, the values, the beliefs facing that of the study location, the culture and the business, we visualise our own experience and how we can implement our future success of our own communities and our Commonwealth. It's over 18 years since I experienced CSC 2003 in Melbourne, Australia. This time has changed my perspective of business, values of country and belief in self. Recommendations of change. Our recommendation would be to reduce the attendance size of events, as a key to success is relationships created, fostered and shared experiences. The larger groups struggle to build rapport quickly as they only network during open and closing events. Limiting to 5 study groups of 10 would also reduce cost, build stronger connections and the opportunity for more regional events. Also, corporate sponsorship. We all know the importance of corporate revenue to stage a successful event. However, as part of that sponsorship, if it is to include a pitch of their own agenda, it must stay on topic and the content be approved by the committee prior to that event.
The study groups are conducted with participants of about 10 or 12. They witness and are exposed to some amazing enterprises that are doing some incredible work. The group is cohesive, the motivation levels are high. To give back at that moment is huge. It would be wonderful if projects can be assigned to each of these groups on any area that could benefit the Commonwealth countries. These projects are reviewed, monitored in a structured manner so that they benefit society.
Julie Knittingen from New Zealand.
Oige Panton from Kingston, Jamaica.
Gary from Canada.
Tochi from Australia.
Leeling from Sabah, Malaysia.
Piaz from Mumbai, India.
Lee from Australia. In an age of digital connections, we think face-to-face and experiential is and can still be what makes CSC distinctive. Gathering together is challenging, but this is what's inspired generations of CSC alumni. Technology can play a critical enabling role, connecting us before, during and after face-to-face experiential conferences.
Given the distinct value of CSCs, the advice on how to proceed with this mission is very clear from our alumni agents. Hold on to the traditions of CSC while embracing evolving technological advancements to complement and enhance current programs.
Technology is perceived as complementary by filling CSC gaps and expanding what is currently being offered throughout the CSC journey.
Using technology to improve engagement before, during, and after conferences will allow delegates to have greater access and insight, creating more memorable experiences and opportunities for future networking.
Technology can enhance CSC conferences by providing an innovative avenue for participant engagement through online workshops, breakout rooms, and simulations.
Technology can support and assist in creating a genuine collaboration and co-design of future leadership projects, alongside their outputs and outcomes across global communities.
As part of the conferences, we propose using the hackathon format to find solutions or ways forward to global issues. So in a compressed time frame, typically one day, we could draw upon experts from around the world meeting on virtual platforms.
Enhancing.
Hold tradition, embrace technology.
Complementary.
Access and engagement.
Innovative.
Collaboration and co-design.
Hackathons.
Enhancing.
Holding signal. Oh, sorry, no, I stuck it up.
Kia ora koutou, and very good and warm morning and regards from New Zealand, Your Royal Highness. It's my immense pleasure to represent Team Mural today. Our team strongly acknowledge and believe in His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh's vision to recognize the importance of creating global leaders. The purpose and intent of CSCs is very much relevant and unique to this program. We have all benefited tremendously from the realistic learning opportunities and believe others would continue to do so. And hence, we all believe that global and regional conferences shall carry on and continue. However, the Commonwealth, by virtue of its own story and our shared history, is exclusive. What binds us is our respective stories of colonization and the impact that these experiences have had and continue to have on the first peoples across the world. Our knowledge now and our ability to reconcile our histories remain a significant leadership challenge and opportunity in many countries. Slide 2. Team Mural. Yeah, this is our Team Mural. And next slide, please. And next, yep. And the next one, the following one. Yeah, and a little bit more, yeah. Team Mural believes that regional conferences are the cornerstones of developing global leaders and global alumni. So regional conferences shall take place every 2 to 3 years' time to build momentum within the alumni network and encourage ongoing connections. And these regional conferences shall feed into the global conferences and shall be held every 3 to 4 years. Regional alumni can be the potential participants for these global conferences in addition to the other participants. But before we move on to this, we must modernize the program through transformative rebranding that reflect the genuine relevant intent. A well-funded and more inclusive approach is required. Participating countries shall step up and render support along with private sector and philanthropies as well. Also, we believe to ensure sustainability of the program. So in addition to the contributions from the host country, the other sponsors, a minimal participant contribution and ability to track alumni contribution is really very critical to demonstrate the impact and, of course, return on investment. Another important thing to answer, who's next? Of course, Canada, who have already announced their conference in 2022. However, the way forward, we need to define the processes for the countries to step up rather than allocate or nominate a potential host country. As we all know, the biggest challenge for majority of the countries would be funding and infrastructure. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Royal Highness. COVID-19 has proven to be the ultimate disruptor. In most countries, the pandemic has negatively impacted economies. This complexity urgently necessitates the dynamic reimagining of global initiatives like the CSC Leadership Programme. According to former Unilever CEO Paul Pullman, we need to rethink partnerships as collaborations and coalitions, identify better business for a better world, and address the concept of shared value. This leads us to, are we asking the right question?
In this mutable world, without a highly visible return on investment, it becomes more difficult to attract partners. We need to restate the business case of the CSC Leadership Programme for its participants, partners, and thus society. Currently, only 10% of potential CSC alumni are on the CSC Global Alumni Programme. In short, the alumni network's value is mostly untapped when it could leverage the growth of partners. Thus, we suggest we flip the question and rather ask, how do we build a powerful network through the CSC alumni to grow future partnerships.
They say that trees communicate through their roots, so let's strengthen the roots, the alumni network, by creating a long-term funnel of partnerships. We can do this. We research, recreate, rebuild, and resonate.
We research by looking into the entire alumni database, addressing the question of CSC leadership program impact on professional and personal lives. Anecdotally, one of our elite group's influence has expanded extensively since doing the program. They're now able to leverage their network for the outcomes that we're looking for.
We reconnect based on this research, creating a data ecosystem, organizing the alumni according to geographic, time-based, sectoral, or other access points. Based on the circle of influence of each of alumni, we scale peer-to-peer engagement.
We need to rebuild the platform of access, connecting an extensive network of leaders. Critically, we need to organise and administer the network full-time to ensure its sustainability and scalability.
In closing, we must resonate. We see this as an internal and external marketing of value, highlighting collaboration and partnerships between public, private, and civil society, with inclusivity and diversity at its heart. Thank you, ma'am.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings. Your Royal Highness, it's a real pleasure to be speaking to you today. Thank you for asking us to contribute to today's important celebration. How can we measure the impact of CSC programs, and how can alumni contribute to this? We will try to answer that through our collective stories, ma'am. The CSC programs are unique in scope and breadth. No other program allows the opportunity for global citizens to meet people from around the Commonwealth and to engage in an inquiry both broad in scope and wide in execution. The vision of the CSC Study Conference is as relevant today as it was over 60 years ago, perhaps even more so. Connection, collaboration, and change. As alumni, the conference has touched and enhanced each of our lives, and we've been able to incorporate the tools into our communities and the people that we work with. The conference has opened up many opportunities for connections and collaborations on many levels, not only at the conference, but also to develop valuable connections within our countries. We've opened our minds to look deeper into the needs of society and community beyond the obvious, to make a difference and make space for all cultures, people and voices, and understanding different perspectives. Being witness to the empowerment and increasing the social and economic lives gives us purpose to see positive impacts and change. The resilience of the CSC programs. With all organisations, there is evolution and a need to look inward to reflect and question relevance and enhance the process, especially in the world we currently live in. We're all connected and have responsibility to enrich the lives of current and future generations. With Indigenous cultures in Canada, the value and principles are based on 7 generations, making decisions with 7 generations in mind. So how can alumni contribute to the ongoing impact and relevance of CSC programs? From us, ma'am, there are 3 suggestions. Include alumni in the governance of the programs. Invite alumni to be an operational partner, and promote alumni in the development of the programs.
So what does happen next, as you touched on? I think we can say without any doubt that what comes from the hour, coming on the hour that we've spent together, is the energy and the enthusiasm of our alumni. And as most of these presentations have said, we now need to tap and harness that energy. I think it's also true to say that we can already say from the presentations that the original purpose, vision and intent of your father through the Commonwealth Study Conferences remains intact, and perhaps even its importance is heightened. We can see that people value the study conferences, underlying the word study, for the connectivity they provide and the advancement of their own personal study. And they need to carry on and continue regionally and globally. And the connectivity is, of course, is face-to-face. And I think everyone has referenced the importance of face-to-face. And let's hope that is a sooner rather than later concept. But also technology. And I thought the 007 technology presentation was terrific, where we want to hold on to our traditions while embracing technology to complement and enhance engagement, recognising it needs to be inclusive. And the points made about digital inequity is something for us to consider. Inclusive regionally, making sure that all areas of the Commonwealth, including, I would say, particularly Africa and India, are represented appropriately. And if I may, ma'am, agree with you that this is a really important time in the existence of the Commonwealth that we all love, and the pandemic has shown us that. So what happens next? Well, Peter Moore, our UK Secretary, is receiving outlines from both part 1 and part 2 of today, and he'll also synthesise the comments. So there's been a web chat going on behind the scenes, ma'am, both on WhatsApp and in the Zoom application. And so we've got lots of comments there that we need to bring together. We're also going to do a survey to get further feedback to make sure we're as inclusive as possible. We're going to ask each of the 6 groups that did the 3-minute presentations in part 2 to nominate one person to come together globally to synthesise everything that we've heard today, to come up with recommendations for us collectively. Sir Alan Parker through Brunswick has kindly, thank you Alan, offered to support through research, through their capabilities, so the 6 that we're asking to synthesise can make use of those resources. With the intent of coming together, I don't think we should put a date on it, rather than it should be sooner rather than later. Let's give the team of 6 a chance to come together. I do think a couple of other points: partnerships, the Association of Commonwealth Universities, who we're already linked in with. But ma'am, you said earlier, and I quite agree, the Association of Agricultural Societies throughout the Commonwealth is another area for us to look at. We need to pick up your comments around measuring our impact, and indeed the importance of the Commonwealth as it develops today. So with that, I'd like to lastly thank my Executive Assistant, Elizabeth Mallet, who's been a power of energy behind everyone getting it all together. Thank you, Biz, most appreciated. And with that, I'll call the meeting to a close by thanking Your Royal Highness for your inspiration, your time today, your very insightful summaries of both the first part and the second part, and we'll come together again in the near future, hopefully with a succinct, pithy way to take our family, our Commonwealth Study Conference family, together into the next generation. Thank you everyone for calling in today. Thank you everyone that's participated. There's been a lot of work in a short period of time, and you heard from Her Royal Highness how much that is appreciated. Thank you, and stay safe.